Hey everyone, welcome to this video. We're going to talk about how to find the relationships between different lines and their transversals. At this point, you have hopefully completed this assignment as we're going to be going through the answers in the first part of this video. And so in this case, what we're trying to do, as the directions say, is look for the relationship between the two angles that they've described for us. In this first example, we have EBC, which can be found right here. We're going to go from E to B to C. And lastly, BCG. And that's going to give us this here. Because they are on the same side of the transversal, that is the line, of course, that connects the two angles, since they are on the same side of the transversal, they are going to be considered same side interior angles. And the piece that makes it interior is that they are between the two lines, the two items that make up the angle. And so we're going to call number one same side interior. And we're going to use that same idea to go through the others. Again, an easy way to break this down is if they're on the same side of the transversal, the two choices you pretty much have are going to be same side interior or corresponding angles. If they are on opposite sides, or we'll say alternate sides, we're going to say instead that they are either alternate interior angles or alternate exterior angles. And so if we go to the next couple, EBC and ABF, and we have EBC, we have ABF. In this case, that's going to be neither of these examples because this is only occurring with two lines in total, not three. And so with the two lines, these are going to be non-adjacent angles. We're going to call this a pair of vertical angles. Moving on, and we have FBA. So FBA is going to be actually the one we just used, and BCH this time. So BCH is actually going to take us down here, so we'll forget this for a minute. These are on the same side of the transversal. Once again, transversal connects the two angles with each other, so that's what AD is here. Since they're on the same side, we're going to go and use one of these two. Since they are in the same position, top right-hand corner, we're going to say these are corresponding. Moving down to these next couple, let's go ahead and take a moment, and I'm going to put in the answers for those. And here are the remaining answers from page 1. Again, just as another example, if we're looking at, we hadn't looked at any alternate ones, so let's look at number 7, for example. And let me just erase what we have marked up here from earlier. EBC, so that's going to give me this angle right here. And lastly, ABE is going to be, ooh, sorry, I read the wrong one. Let's try that again. Take 2. DCH is actually the first angle we're referring to, so that's actually going to be this one right here. And ABE is actually this one right here. Now notice they are on different sides of the transversal, the line that connects them, so that makes them either alternate interior or alternate exterior. Because here are my lines, I'm going to draw them in, they are occurring outside the lines and not between the lines. Since both of them are doing that, we're going to consider them alternate exterior angles. We move on to the second page here. These go up a little bit in difficulty, and if you had any trouble with these down here, I'll put the answers on, but I don't want you to worry about this bottom section as much as I want you to remain consistent about the top section here. If we look at, for example, this one here, angles 1 and 5, the one thing we have to make sure we look at is we have to decide what is the transversal, better known as the line that connects the two angles. Well, if angle 1 is here and angle 5 is here, this is the line that actually connects them. So we'll call that the transversal in this problem. Since they are on the same side of the transversal, they're both above it, that makes them either corresponding or same side interior. They're both in the top left-hand position, so we're going to say those are corresponding angles. Now we'll take that and we're going to try a different set of examples. I have to erase because if we look at something, for example, like 11 and 16, yeah, let's do 11 and 16. Here are the two angles, here and here. The transversal this time is this green line that I've colored in. Again, these are on the same side like the one we did earlier, but since they are both inside or in between the lines, again, when I say lines, I'm talking about the non-transversals, that's going to make them this time the same, oops, I'll try that again, same side interior angles. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the remaining answers from page 2. Here are those remaining answers. And I'm going to take one from the middle section here just to walk through with you. So we'll take this one. So it says 11 and blank are alternate interior angles. And so here's angle 11. We'll mark it here in green. We basically have to consider the two different transversals that 11 could have. So 11 can connect with the 5, 6, 7, 8 through this transversal. And so when we look at that, this is the transversal, and these are the two lines that make it up. So what other angle is considered alternate interior? Well, that's going to be the opposite side of 11, so this side, and on the interior. And so this is the line, the interior then would be 8. So that's the first of the two answers, but then we have to also consider what if the transversal was this guy right here, connecting the 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that case, we're looking for, again, the angle that's on the opposite side, but inside the line, and in this case, that ends up being 1. Now that you've had a chance to take a look at a couple examples and review this assignment, going into your parallel packet, which is numerous pages long and 22 pages to be exact, we will not be doing all 22 of those pages. Pages 1 and 2 are actually going to give you another opportunity to practice some of this. And that is basically what I want you to complete as your warm-up. So 1 through 8 is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much like what we had done on the front of the 3.1 practice. I'm going to walk through number 10 with you on this, and then I'll have you complete the rest. In numbers 9 through 17, basically you're using the figure below, and you have to identify what type of angles 1 and 11 is, decide what are the lines, and what is the transversal. So the easiest way, I know you might think lines, you're like, well, aren't there 3 lines? There are 3 lines. The special type of line is called the transversal. We call this kind of a special type of line. I'll write that in. And so if you look at 1 and 11, we basically need to ask ourselves, here's 1 and here's 11 down here. And we say, well, what is the line that connects them? What's the line that 1 and 11 are both made of? And that ends up being K here. And so we're going to go ahead and call that our transversal. That by default makes the other 2 lines that make up 1 and 11 respectively, J and H, the 2 lines we're going to be using. So we'll call that J, we'll call that H. And last thing we have to decide is what relationship do they have? They're on opposite sides or alternate sides of the transversal. They're on different sides. So that's going to make it alternate something angles. The question is, are they interior or are they exterior? Well, the lines that make up 1 and 11 are J and H. The 11 and the 1 are outside of the blue lines, not between the blue lines. And so we're going to go ahead and call those alternate exterior. And so you'll see the assignment written below this video, but basically I would like you to complete the questions here on page 1 of the packet, as well as, if I can find where my mouse is, going over to page 2. And once you've completed that, you can move on to today's lesson. Thanks for watching.